All right. Thank you for joining. This is Grace with You Deserve Grace, the personal financial platform dedicated to helping you discover your version of rich. On this Coronation Saturday, I wanted to talk about inheritance really quick. Um, so, we're not going to talk about whether it's good or it's bad, whether Nepo babies deserve what they have, or if it's something that they've earned. Because I think those are all really interesting legacy conversations where they should be ongoing in families. If you know that when you pass, you want to leave your kids something, those are conversations that need to be had, especially when there's siblings involved. There's nothing worse than children fighting over wills and estates after the parents have passed away because these things were not communicated clearly because parents didn't want to hurt their kids' feelings. And so you look at the British Commonwealth and where they got their money from. And I think it's important to note how hard they have to work to pass down their values because they really are living in the limelight, in the spotlight. It's not unlike, other stars and things like that, but it really is one of those things where it's just, you can't feel bad for them because it's a situation where we always talk about shoot for the stars because or shoot for the moon because if you fail, at least you fall amongst the stars. They're already starting on the moon when it comes to financial position. And so worst case scenario they could do, is fall down to the stars. And it could be worse, right? There are, I think we know the monarchy was not inherited, but rather taken. There's a, Scott King who would come down and he was trying to take the throne back for his own father, right? So the monarchy story would look completely different. And in that, when you look at it from that stage, this is somebody else. Elsa's family's story of a failure to pass down that inheritance, right? And it becomes somebody else's new story in this family with King Charles in it. And so I say that to say I think it's really more important to pass down your values, really more important to pass down your family story and to your kids because it's not necessarily that they may not want to join the same industry that you're in, right? And so building a business to be able to prepare it to pass it down to your kids, um, unless you've passed down those values and spoken about the joy of farming and things like that. But if they've only seen you struggle and hate it, chances are they're not going to want to follow in your way. They'll inherit everything from you, sell it, and then chart a new path for themselves, right? And so with inheritance, I think, spoken values, unspoken values, there really has to be that because at the end of the day, how those children use that wealth is really what's going to come across, like we saw with Prince Andrew, right? And all the scandals that he was involved in. He used his wealth in different ways. He used his wealth definitely not in a way that made the mother proud while she was still alive, right? And it's impacting um, the image of the crown and everything. And so when our kids inherit money from us or a lifestyle or whatever, it can really be something that can hinder them or it can be something that can help them to move along in life. And so when you're thinking about what do I want to leave with my kids? Think about right now the things that you're doing, the things that you're saying, the life that you're showing them, because that's a big part of what they will inherit. And that's a big driver of what they'll do with the money that you leave them behind. So, in everything that we talk about here at You Deserve Grace, it really isn't just about the money, the finances, but the value, the reason behind the why. And so, if you want to sit down and discuss, maybe you have a will in place and we're not will and tax specialists, but we can walk you through the emotional decisions that you're making and behind that will and how you're preparing that. We can help you develop a plan that fits right with you emotionally and then recommend experts that you could take that to that will help you to finalize that because sometimes you do need someone looking from a bird's eye view to be able to look at the different risks associated with what you're currently trying to think about doing and help you navigate that so that when you do take it to a legal professional or a trust and estates person, then you have a better idea, right? Of all the, maybe questions that you haven't asked or questions you need to ask. And maybe you already have a will in place and you're not sure about it. We can go through it together and see like where the uncertainties are, what you do need to discuss with your kids prior to, and maybe there's things that could be done beforehand, and even explaining, right, the values behind why you've chosen such things, because not every child will inherit everything equally. We've seen that with Prince William and Prince Harry. He's always known, right, that he's the spare. And so, even within siblings, they may not be equality, but it is important that we still communicate our values to them and the reasoning and everything behind the institution. So, on this Coronation Sunday, think about your own family and the legacy that you're leaving behind. For more information, what we're doing here, follow us, subscribe, follow here on YouTube at Deserve Grace, and then also go to our website at www.deservegrace.com. Thanks for listening.